Hello people, I'm Bharat Archarya. Welcome to our new lecture and in fact to a whole new course. Yes, I'm introducing the Unacademy GATE CSIT course for all you students who are preparing to take the GATE exam either next year in 2026 or maybe you're an early riser and you want to prepare all the way for 2027. This is the lecture for you. I'm going to tell you everything about GATE. So many students don't even understand how important GATE exam is. What is the scoring system? What is the syllabus of GATE? What kind of questions do they ask? Okay, we've given GATE. Now, how does it benefit us? Where does it take you? A good score opens what opportunities? A medium score still opens a lot of opportunities. You don't even take GATE. As long as you've prepared for it, you are side by side automatically prepared for all the campus placement interviews because everything that they're going to ask you over there is covered in GATE. So this is your one-stop shop. No matter which college you are in, which city you are in, how good or bad you are, you want one shot at your career, one shot at those campus placements or an admission in MTech or a job in one of the government PSUs and all of those. This is your opportunity. Alright, so I'm going to tell you everything about GATE exam first, then I'll obviously tell you about the course, tell you about the massive discounts and the things that I brought into the table. So this whole thing started a month back when Unacademy got in touch with me and said that we have put the best teachers in the respective subjects in one group and we'd like to invite you to come just have a chat with them, see if you synergize and probably we'll come up with a course. I went all the way to Bangalore, we met multiple times, had rounds of discussions. I was extremely pleased to see the whole group of teachers. Firstly, because they are genuine teachers, not people who just taught on a camera. No disrespect to anybody. I'm not here for that. But personally, having taught students in physical classrooms for more than 24 years now, yes, this is my 25th year of teaching, I know the big difference between a real teacher and a camera teacher. Like I said, no disrespect. The only thing is in a real classroom, when you've taught the same subject over and over again for years, for months, for weeks, you have covered everything 200, 300, 400 times, at least me, I'm talking about me. Now what happens is, when you've taught so many times or in a classroom, you understand in every lecture there are lots of doubts asked. So your knowledge becomes so pristine because you have solved so many doubts. When you're just speaking to a camera, you're only thinking of the subject from one point of view. You don't have a different perspective. Yes, you do get doubts over here also, but they are hardly, in a whole lecture, you probably can solve 1, 2, 3, maybe at the most. But in a classroom, when you cannot proceed ahead till the time you solve the doubt, that's when the teacher inside you wakes up and makes you go deep into the subject and pick up that point, that perspective from that student. And then when you do it over and over the years, what you do is your teaching method gets accustomed to automatically solve these doubts before they arise. So that for me is the difference between an ordinary teacher and a really good teacher who can preempt the doubts and already read the mind of the students. And that comes with an experience of teaching in classrooms. So that was one of my preconditions. So when I went there, I met the whole group. I was very pleased to know that everybody is from a similar kind of background and has at least a 10-year experience in actually teaching in classes. And we got together, we understood that everyone's primary focus is to educate. Of course, there is commerce involved. Without commerce, it cannot happen. I mean, that is obvious. But that cannot be the center of your goal. Your actual goal is to educate. That's why you're a teacher. I mean, that's not a big thing to ask, right? So I found the right group. We figured out this whole syllabus. We figured out how we're going to conduct the batches. We did all the schedules. And here we are. The batch is starting from 21st Feb. I will talk about the batch very soon. First of all, about GATE exam. Now, many people say, why do we need to give GATE? Here's the thing. What are you going to do after engineering? All right? Either you're going to start working. When you work, either you're going to go into a government sector, which is fabulous, booming, secure job, and not just the money, gives you the responsibility to take India ahead. So that itself is huge. When I'm talking about government sector, you know what I'm talking about? ISRO, yeah. The pride of India, BARC, DRDO, yes, these are the major government PSUs and many, many more. The banking sector, infrastructure sector, railway sector, where there is no doubt a lot of money, a lot of respect, but most importantly, the ability to take India forward. The last 15-20 years, India has shot up. And you know that. I don't need to sell India to you. We are the story, the success story of this century. And we are just moving ahead, surging ahead. And who's doing that? The engineers that are churning out. I take a lot of pride in saying that since 25 years, I've taught more than 60,000-70,000 students in classrooms. So I have done my 2 bits in making this progress move. And here is your chance. When you get into these companies, you are the ones on whose shoulder this whole responsibility lies to take India ahead of the rest of the world. So either you go into that section or you go into the commercial part where most students go, the private companies, the big ones, the mid-sized ones, the startups. For all of them, you got to prepare for placement. For all of them, you need to brush up your whole engineering, and that's what GATE does. So either of the two directions you take, maybe you don't do any of these. Maybe you want to study more. You're an academic. You want to study more. You want to have an MTech. You want to have a PhD. You want to be absolutely well equipped before you hit the job sector. Fine. Where do you want to study from? What are the best colleges in India to give you that MTech degree? The IITs, the dream of every engineering student, may not be the IITs, maybe the NITs, maybe the triple IITs, maybe any of these big institutes. For them, the primary admission criteria is GATE. Maybe you don't even want to study more. Maybe you don't want to work more. Maybe you have your own business. You're just doing education for the heck of it. You have your own business. You know you're going to get into that. At some day, you're going to ask yourself, I am an engineer. How much do I really know? Are you just an engineer on paper? Is it just that degree? Is that certificate? Or do you really want to believe that, yes, you are an engineer, you know everything about engineering? Yes, this is the preparation for you. This 1 year of GATE preparation summarizes all the important subjects. When I say important, you and I, we both know what I'm talking about. There are so many subjects that we learn, which we ourselves know are not a part of our course stream. We wonder, why are we learning this? As educators, we also think, why are students learning those subjects? I have never indulged in teaching those subjects because I know what's the point of teaching something which my student is never going to use in his or her life. So there are a lot of good subjects that we learn in engineering, and there are plenty of subjects which are absolutely relevant to our branch. In GATE, if it's GATE CSIT, there is not one GATE exam for the whole engineering crowd of India. There are individual GATE exams for your respective stream. And in the GATE CSIT syllabus, the subjects included are only the subjects that matter to you as a computer science or an IT engineer, which means are also the subjects that matter to you when you go for your placement or when you go for your higher education. So GATE is your final platform. It opens the gate. No pun intended. Before all you know, that's the reason why they got that acronym. But anyway, that's for another discussion. So, all in all, this is what I call a finishing school. This is what sums you up as an engineer, and then you decide which path you want to take. Maybe you want to answer to nobody, but you got to answer to yourself how much engineering you know. So that's what this GATE course does. There are a lot of students who do the whole course and don't even take the exam, because by the time that exam comes, they're already placed. They're placed in their dream company. They're already sorted. Anyway, so these are all the opportunities. That's the reason why people take GATE. Now, what is the marking system in GATE? How are the questions? What is the exam pattern? A lot of people don't know. The information is pretty vague at some places. So just thought I'll put it down, put it across. I said I'm making one video where all your doubts should be solved. Now, the GATE exam is for 100 marks. Like most engineering exams, 80 marks, 100 marks, depending on which university you are in. Some beautiful universities have got it down to 60. I mean, they've oversimplified their local exams. But anyway, GATE is still, thankfully, your proper 100-mark exam. It's a 3-hour exam. Oh yes, there are 65 questions. Now, this is very different from what we are used to in engineering. In engineering, we have, 10 questions to solve in the exam, maybe 15, maybe 20, depending on your university. 65 questions! That is because there are no theory answers. There are no circuit diagrams. There is no mugging up. Simply speaking. Are you clear? A lot of people can just dodge all concepts of engineering and mug up their way to get the final marks for their regular college exams, because you have to write big answers, you have to write derivations, you have to draw circuit diagrams. All of them can be mugged up. None of that is there in GATE. All questions are objective and pinpoint. So I'll make you understand. First of all, pretty clear. If it's for 100 marks, and there are 65 questions, every question cannot be a 1-mark question. I mean, come on, if you didn't realize that, forget it, close the video, watch something else. So, neither is everything 1 mark, nor can everything be 2 marks, because then it'll overshoot. So, it's a mix of 1 mark and 2 mark questions, alright? It's a mix of 1 and 2 marks. Now, first thing, there are MCQs, our most beautiful type. According to me, the real way to test a student is MCQs. There are other fabulous things also, I'll come to that. So, MCQs, of course, it's GATE. It's the highest level of exam in India, so for engineering students. So, the level is also at par with that. So, the MCQs always are such where out of the 4 answers, probably 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 of them seem to be the correct answer. So, unless you know the subject very well, no by-hearting will help you. You know the subject very well, you can apply your knowledge, you will get your marks. The interesting thing is, in MCQs, There is negative marking. Yes, the only thing in GATE which has negative marking is MCQs. The others don't have it. Now, what is the negative marking like? If it's a 1 mark question, you get it right, you get 1 mark. You don't attempt, nothing. You don't get, you don't lose. You write a wrong answer, you lose 1/3 of a mark. Not 1 mark, 1/3 of a mark. Okay, so it's a little lenient in that way, but still there is negative marking. Similarly, if it's a 2 mark question, then you lose 2/3 of a mark. So, I always advise students, don't fake. You are absolutely sure of an MCQ answer, then attempt, or don't fake, because there is a possibility of losing marks in that. Are you clear? So this, you know what this does? It negates all those fakers in the exam who may just do, eeny meeny or things like this, and still by the stroke of luck might get the correct answer. People won't try to do that because they know every wrong answer makes you lose marks. It's better not to attempt it than trying to fake it. So the negative marking is to avoid those fakers. Anyway, so that was your MCQ part. Then there is something which is very interesting. MSQs. Many colleges also have it. Maybe your college does. MSQs means multiple select questions. So there will be 4 options, A, B, C, D. There may be multiple correct answers. It's not necessary. There may be only 1 correct answer. There may be 2. There may be 3. Maybe all 4 are correct. There is no negative marking here, but you get your mark. Your answer is termed correct if you have selected all the correct answers. Have I made myself clear? If option A, B, C are correct and you select A, you don't get partial marks. You select A and B, you don't get partial marks. You select A, B, D, of course it's wrong. You have to select A, B, C. Are you clear? If there's only 1 correct answer and you selected that plus another one, you don't get marks. Are you clear? You have to select only the correct set of answers. Only then it's deemed correct. If you made a mistake, it's wrong. There's no negative marking, but you don't get the marks. Are you clear? So, MCQ has negative marking, though 1/3, but it has negative marking. MSQ, no negative marking, but you got to select all the options correct. Like for example, let's take an MSQ example. What is the unit of time? Months, years, weeks, light years. Months, years, weeks. Light years is a unit of distance. I'm sure you know that. That's school stuff. I'm just playing with you. I'm just trying to engage you in the very simple form. That music should have played right now when you asked that question. Yes, you gave the right answer. Anyway, so the last one, NAT. NAT stands for numerical answer type. Numerical answer type. Forget answer type. What it means is it's a numerical, the best kind of questions. It's a sum to solve. It's a problem, numerical problem, which has one definitive number as an answer. The answer is a number. Let's say, for example, in COA, my subject, you're calculating disk speed, you're calculating the data transfer rate, you're calculating what? Cache block size, or you're calculating pipelining a performance gain, or something like that. The answer, you apply some formula, you get the answer, and that answer is one particular number. That number you need to write. What is important to take care over here? A general advice to everybody, okay? I mean, it's very painful to see someone losing marks not for taking care of something so small. Look at the question clearly and see the unit in which they have asked the answer. Let's say, for example, you're calculating time. 1 second is 1,000 milliseconds, is 1,000, each millisecond is 1,000 microsecond, each microsecond is 1,000 nanoseconds. You know that, right? You don't? Take the course, start learning. But I'm sure you know this is like not school, but probably junior college stuff. So, you got the answer as 1 second. All right. The question said how many milliseconds will be required. You wrote 1. The answer is wrong. Though 1 second is 1,000 milliseconds, the question was about milliseconds. So see the unit. If you write 1 or 1 second over here, nobody will read the word second. It's a numerical answer. They will only look at the number, and that number is not the number that they wanted. You would say, sir, but isn't it the same thing? Why so strict? The reason is all of this is auto-corrected. There is no human interface, no kind of irregularity or mood of the examiner. You know how we say if the examiner is in a bad mood, you don't get no irregularity. It's all computer corrected, it's all unbiased, it all follows a simple principle. The unit in which the question is asked, that's the unit in which the answer should be given. Only then it's a correct answer, irrespective of how close you are. The only thing that is allowed is a rounding error. So in answers, if in a question, if suppose the answer was supposed to be 7.9 as an example, and you 7.9 and you wrote 7.91 or 7.89 because of rounding, that is fine. There is a little deviation that is allowed, but very little deviation, which basically basically is a rounding error, nothing more than that. Are you clear? So when the computer is fed with the answers, that deviation range is given in the computer. So anyway, these are the three types of questions. NATs are generally 2-mark questions because they require you to calculate, though not necessarily, but generally. MCQ, MSQs can be 1 mark or 2 mark. Basically, all questions are either 1 mark or 2 mark questions, nothing more, nothing less. Are you clear? And negative marking is there only in MCQ, 1/3 of the mark, as per the marks of the question. So that was your marking system. Now, let's focus on our in case there is a flicker, don't mind it, I'll try to adjust. I just noticed it somewhere, but it just comes and goes because the screen just became white, so the light setting changes, but don't bother. I mean, focus on what you really need to focus. Yes, we are grown up. I don't need to tell you about these silly things. So I teach much younger students also, so sometimes you have to talk about these things. Anyway, now this is your syllabus. This is what GATE CSIT students need to master. Look at the whole list and ask yourself, is there anything unnecessary over here? When you call yourself a computer engineer, an IT engineer, a techie, that's what I call people like you, or myself, I'm a CS engineer myself. Tharomalchani College, year 2000 pass out, placed through college, campus placement in the year 2000 when it was very scanty. Anyway, so yeah, those are my achievements. Someday, some video. Now, coming back. These are all the subjects. There is no, now I don't want to name subjects because no disrespect here, but you know what subjects I'm talking about. There's so many of them which are relevant to you. None of them come in GATE. What comes is only what is absolutely relevant for your type of engineering. So the first thing, aptitude. Is it important? Absolutely. First of all, it checks how smart you are, how quick you can think, and is the first barometer of checking during campus placement. Like I just mentioned about it, I was placed through college, I'm talking first hand, and plus since 25 years I'm dealing with 3rd year and 4th year students. So I know everything about what I'm going to say right now. Alright, I've represented my own company when I went to my own college next year back for campus placement, picking up my juniors. Anyway, for campus placement. So, when a company comes, 2 days before that, a notice is put up, so-and-so company is coming, so-and-so is the eligibility criteria. So first thing what you need to do is get your marks in order, alright, so that you meet the criteria. The criteria is basically, I mean, let me put it in a nutshell, you have to be in the better half of the college. Just see the overall score of your college. If you're in the better half, the higher 50%, you are generally eligible for most companies. Some companies have a lenient criteria, some companies don't have a criteria, some companies have a very high criteria. But in general, if you're in the first half of if you're in the better half, like I say, then you are sorted. So what happens is, they put this eligibility criteria, you are eligible, you go. Still, because it's the better half, it's generally 300, 400, 500 students applying for a company, whatever is the number depending on which branch they ask for. The first filtration is aptitude. The first test is aptitude test, where they filter the crowd and get the smart ones out. What they ask you over there is much lower at level as compared to what they ask you over here. You prepare for this, you're already set for that. So here comes your chance. Are you clear? That's what I said, how important GATE exam is. You prepare for GATE, it's a finishing school. You are set for whichever direction you want to take your life in. Are you clear? Now, in company campus placement, once the aptitude test is over, half the crowd is filtered, and it's a general say. I mean, you ask your seniors, if you cleared the aptitude test, there is an 80% chance you already have got the job, unless you mess up. Okay, what comes after aptitude? Guess what comes after aptitude? The technical test, where there will be questions to solve from your engineering. What do you think? They'll ask you to draw the 3D diagram of a cube. They'll ask you about the weather. They'll ask you about some silly mathematical formula. What they ask is basically subjects which they want you to be good at because they're giving you the job. And companies that come for your stream, in fact most streams are computer IT related companies. So these are the subjects from which questions will be asked, and these are the subjects which you have in GATE. Alright, so I will not repeat this point. I think I made it very clear to you. What you learn when you prepare for GATE is absolutely what shapes you as a CS or an IT engineer. Are you clear? So first thing is general aptitude, then come my subjects. I said subjects, plural, I'll tell you why. My responsibility for you in this course is to teach you the COA subject, which I would love to teach, which is what I've been teaching since 25 years, along with other things. I teach microprocessors, microcontrollers, many things. Now, COA is computer organization. I'm sure you know about the subject. I'm sure you already had it in for 2nd year or probably 3rd year, depending on which college you are in. So COA approach in college exams is very different from GATE. When you teach COA for college, your focus is more on theory because you write theory answers, and COA has beautiful theory. How CD works, how RAID works, how hard disk works, the whole IO section, Flynn's classification, bus arbitration. There is such good theory in this subject, but that is for college exam. For GATE, the focus is on objective questions and numericals. So your approach completely changes. Even if you learned COA from me during your college days, you will understand when you're learning it for GATE, your approach is absolutely different. It's the same subject, but here you are focused on solving numericals, solving them correctly, and solving them quickly. Time is of essence in the exam. The faster you solve some questions, the more time it gives you for other questions which may end up being tricky. So you want to be both accurate as well as quick. So anyway, the focus of COA subject is massive in the exam. Even while learning, it takes a lot of time. See, I can see the flicker again. Yeah, so I think if I'm here, the flicker doesn't come. Anyway, yeah. So the focus is mainly on COA, the focus is on numericals, and the weightage of COA is huge as compared to many other subjects. Even there are other subjects also with bigger focus, no doubt about it. I've written the whole list on the board. I've written COA first because it's my subject. So 10 marks are there per se on COA. Of course, this is not hard and fast. In some paper it will be 11, in some paper it will be 9 or 8 or 12. Doesn't matter. This is a general breakdown. Okay, there is no rule that it has to be this much. Now, not just these 10 marks. A little bit of OS, a little bit of digital logics will also be covered by me when I'm teaching you COA. Why like that? Because though you have excellent teachers for both these subjects in the course, when you take the course, you have the whole bunch, all different subjects taught by different teachers. In live batches, you get recorded lectures, etc. I'll talk about the course soon. Right now, hear me out. So though other teacher will teach you the whole OS and the whole digital logic, the way I approach things is your knowledge has to be complete, your knowledge has to be clear. So in COA, when I'm talking about ALU, the next slide I will show you the syllabus. We have ALU as the syllabus. To understand the ALU, you need to first understand how to represent numbers. Only when you are absolutely clear how numbers are represented, you will understand how they are added, subtracted, multiplied, divided in whole numbers as well as in floating point. So this number representation per se is a part of OS subject. But I, as a teacher, will not directly dive into the ALU assuming that you know number representation, because it doesn't work like this. So I will teach you number representation, and I will also solve all the questions that have come for number representation so that your knowledge is absolutely clear, so that when I introduce the ALU and start making those circuits, you know exactly what we are talking about. Are you clear? So I will be covering a little bit of digital logic and OS. And when I'm talking about OS, you have paging. Now there is virtual memory management, so there is processor, then there is physical memory, then there is virtual memory. Virtual memory to physical memory is paging. Physical memory to the processor comes the internal cache management. In COA you have cache management, but what did I say? Before cache, there is this whole transition that happens from virtual memory to physical memory, and that's where paging is involved. And if you've not understood that, then it becomes far more difficult to understand what happens in cache, because the initial background is missing. So when I'm going to teach you cache, when I'm going to teach you memory, I will talk about paging. I will solve sums on page replacement, though it will be done by some other teacher as well by their approach. But according to me, a student needs to know that to understand cache and the whole picture of memory correctly. You have numericals on RAM, you have numericals on ROM. Students always wonder, how did this happen? Why are these sizes fixed like this? That is because you need to first understand the concept of paging and how RAM works. So, because I'll be covering a little bit of DL and a little bit of OS, the total weightage from what you will learn from me in the GATE exam will be far more than this. It may go up to 12, 13, 14, maybe in some papers even 15. And I will solve papers. We will solve the last 10 years, 20 papers. 10 years, 20 papers. Why like that? For CSIT, there are 2 papers in a year. You have to give only one. They'll slot you either in the morning or the afternoon one, because there are so many students. Yes, wake up. There are so many students applying that they need 2 papers for CSIT to incorporate all the students. Anyway, 1.9 lakh or what? I don't remember exactly how many. Yeah, wake up. In case you're still wondering, should I take GATE or not? So anyway. So my weightage in the exam will be more than what is written as 10. It will generally be around 12 to 15, depending upon how questions are asked. Then there are other subjects, CN. For all the subjects, the team that is there is fabulous. For CN, you will not find a better teacher all over the internet. For C programming and DSA. Now, again, though I myself teach C, and it's very difficult for a teacher to praise another teacher who teaches the same subject. But yes, I have, when we met, we interacted, I saw the level and I was so happy. My engagement is for COA in this course, but I was so happy to meet another teacher who teaches with the same kind of passion and integrity towards subject and imparting knowledge. So C programming, DSA, DBMS, for the whole lot, you have fabulous teachers put together under one umbrella with the motive to make you as a finished engineer. We call it the finishing school, and of course to prepare you for GATE in a way that you get maximum marks. For my COA, my level of preparation for you will be for full marks. Everything that is asked in COA and even related to COA in OS or DL, you should get full marks in that. If it's 10 marks, you should get 10 out of 10. If it's 15, you should get 15 out of 15. That is the level to which I will prepare you. Like I said, I'll solve the last 20 papers, every question that has come, plus other questions from the prescribed books. What are the prescribed books? Morris Mano, Tannenbaum, William Stallings, John P. Hayes. So every question that is related or can come from these topics, we will solve those as well as the ones that have come. So the preparation will be so thorough that anything asked in my domain, you should get full marks. Okay. So these are the subjects. This is the mark breakup. Some subjects have low weightage, some subjects have higher weightage. Of course, programming and DSA thankfully have the maximum weightage because hello, it is computers and IT. It should be. Ironically, I was so surprised last year. Our local university, no names to be taken, removed C programming from first year students and made it an optional subject just for lab. I was like, what? You have kept silly subjects which have nothing to do with a computer engineer, and the most important subject that shapes a computer engineer has been removed, programming. Forget C Java, programming has been removed. I was like, come on, I mean, that's the reason why companies don't trust these college marks as much as they trust GATE marks. There's a whole difference. Some college has preference to one subject, some college has preference. Like the most ironical thing, removing programming for a computer engineering student. I mean, what were you thinking? Anyway, so companies don't trust these as much as they trust a GATE score. A GATE score comes out of the best of the students of India competing, and the level of the exams and the level of the syllabus is such that this is exactly what companies want you to be good at when they want to pick you up. Now, our COA syllabus, what do we have? Now the flicker will go away. When the screen is white, that flicker generally occurs. Now, so in case there was the flicker, please, I hope you don't mind it. Our syllabus for COA, like I said, when you're preparing for college, the syllabus is much bigger and it's more, more theoretical in approach. In terms of size, this syllabus is smaller as compared to your college syllabus, but in terms of hours, I take far more hours to teach this than what I take to teach the college syllabus, because over there, it's most theory. You teach once, you teach paging in theory, it's done. You teach micro operations in theory, it's done. Over here, the theory is less, the numericals are more. There are so many on the same topic. There are so many different kinds of numericals that can be asked. So the number of times, the number of sums that you need to do and the number of hours spent is much more than what I would spend if I'm teaching COA for college students. All right. So what is COA? Computer organization. What is there inside a computer? I'm not introducing the subject to you. That will be a separate lecture. But just to give you a basic so that you understand the syllabus. What is there in a computer? Processor, memory, I/O. Processor is where all operations happen. Memory is where you store all the information, programs and data. And I/O is where you give inputs and produce outputs. Any computer can be classified internally, can be classified into these three objects. And that's what is your syllabus. This is the processor, this is the memory, this is the I/O. Now, let's go backwards. I/O, input and output. Normally, when you learn COA for I/O, it's a 40, 50, 60 page, 70 page part in any textbook. And there are so many I/O things that you learn: serial communication, parallel communication, synchronous, asynchronous, interrupt driven, DMA, polling, I/O channels. And then you go into all of that: Flynn's classification, multiprocessor, loosely coupled, tightly coupled. So you go into a lot of theory. None of it is here in GATE. The focus of I/O is on the two most important things you need to learn in I/O, which is interrupts, if you know what interrupts are. If you don't worry, I will teach you the whole thing. Interrupts, the types of interrupts, there are a lot of small questions that you can get in this. What are vector interrupts, non-vector interrupts, edge-triggered interrupts, level-triggered interrupts, priority interrupts, non-priority based interrupts, vector tables, etc. So, software, hardware interrupts, and so on. There are too many categories in that. So you have that whole thing of understanding everything about interrupts. You may even get a numerical on it, and the whole comparison between interrupts and polling. So that's your interrupt part. And DMA, of course, it's a very cute topic. Direct transfer between memory and IO using a DMA controller. This is where numericals come. They give you the amount of data to be transferred, the cycle speed, the mode of DMA transfer, and based on that, you have to understand, you have to calculate the transfer speed or the throughput. Anyway, so that is your IO section. Much smaller than what you learn in college, but like I said, in terms of time, it takes more time because it's the numericals that need to be solved. Same goes with memory. When you learn memory for college, in my notes, when I teach COA as a subject for college students, memory chapter is about 55-60 pages of theory. There's so much. The whole memory hierarchy, SRAM, DRAM, and the whole types of RAM, types of ROM, hard disk, CD. You learn so much about CDs. So fascinating to teach that lands and pits and how 1 and 0s are calculated. What's the difference between writable CD and just a readable CD and rewritable CD and so on. And then DVDs and going to Blu-rays. None of it is there. Here, the focus is on primary memory mainly. Primary memory means RAM and ROM. Types of RAM, numericals on RAM, a little bit about hard disk, storage spaces, and a lot of focus on cache. Cache is the component of memory that makes your computer faster. Whatever boom in speed that we are experiencing, a lot of it is attributed to cache. That is why in the syllabus there is a lot of cache-based questions. You have theory questions, you have lots of numericals, mainly on cache mapping techniques, block size, the tag size, the whole tag or the directory, etc. So there is a bunch of numericals that can come in this. So we'll be spending a lot of time solving these numericals. Now, in the processor part, what does the processor do? Calculations. To do calculations, it needs the ALU. To tell the ALU what to do, it needs a control unit. Control unit works on instructions, ALU works on data. Control unit works on instructions, ALU works on data. So this is the control unit. You learn instructions, you learn how pipelining speeds up the processor. I'm sure one way or the other you have heard about pipelining. You will go in the complete depth and understand what is the advantage, what are the drawbacks, the 3 hazards of pipelining, how to overcome them. Again, I will be stepping a little bit into the boundaries of OS because like I said, I mean, you can't just stick to a syllabus and say, oh, I will only teach you this. I know something very interesting, but I will not teach you because it's not in your syllabus. A good teacher or a real teacher will never do that. So I will teach you something which your OS teacher will also teach you. All right. So yeah. So that's pipelining, addressing modes. You learn about addressing modes, you learn about instruction format, how an instruction is created, machine language, etc. And you get numericals on that, and that comes every paper. All right, pipelining, instruction formats, cache unit questions. These are questions you can expect every paper has them. But the type and the variety of these questions are so much that you need to spend a lot of time learning it. And the most important, data paths, that's where you work with the ALU. Now, to understand the ALU, you need to understand number representation, both fixed and floating point in detail. So I'll be teaching all of that. So this is your syllabus of COA. Like I said, I will be teaching you with a promise and an assurance and a goodwill of lakhs of students over the last 25 years. Whatever I teach you will equip you for getting full marks. No stone unturned. Nothing left for a chance. I will be tackling every question that you can see in the realm of questions. Last 20 papers is a lot. I will be seeing more also, but minimum we'll be seeing 20. And then after that, when you go backwards and see more, you realize most of them are now repeated or, it's just a very minor deviation. So that is something that is very easy to figure out if your concept bank is absolutely thorough. So that will be my assurance to you that I will prepare you to get full marks. There will be nothing asked in the exam that you would say, oh, sir did not teach this. If it's there in a part of the syllabus, even going out of the syllabus in that scope, it will be covered by us. Are you clear? And that's also pretty much the mentality of most other teachers that I've met. That's why I've got a part of this team. Otherwise, it's very rare for me to go into an organization or a part of a team. I like to work independently because, like I said, till the time I don't get the right ethos, I don't see it. If I don't see the whole motive being right, I don't like to be a part of it. Everything is commercial. It has to be, the commerce is involved. But otherwise, how can this work? But that cannot be your goal. The goal has to be your teacher. Your goal has to be to educate. So that is your syllabus. How am I going to cover it? For this batch, starting on 21st, The layout is I will take 36 lectures, each of 2 hours, 72 hours. You may wonder why, sir, so much. It's because of the numericals that you need to solve again and again and again and again. So many of them, minor deviations, and also can cause a big change of flow in your approach. So till the time you have tackled all of them and solved all these GATE questions, only then you know that you are absolutely thoroughly prepared. You've not left anything to chance. So 72 hours, 36 lectures. In those 36 lectures, per se, we will finish the syllabus in 30 lectures. When I say finish the syllabus, doesn't mean theory. It means theory and solving sums and even GATE questions that have come relative to that particular topic. So 2, 3, if I'm doing pipelining, I'll do 2, 3 questions. If I'm doing advanced pipelining, 2, 3 questions. Addressing modes, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions and all. Like this, we will be finishing the whole subject in 30 lectures. The last 6 lectures will be an overall revision in the sense that I will be solving every question that has come in the last 20 GATE exams plus questions from textbooks so that you are thoroughly prepared. So it's actually not 36 lectures, it's 30 plus 6 lectures. Those 6 lectures we will take in a different setup, probably we'll combine 2 batches. How we will do it, that is for a later point. First, in 30 lectures, my target is to finish your whole syllabus and get everything done once thoroughly at a comfortable pace. I will assume you know nothing. I will start everything from scratch. Are you clear? Now, so that's your syllabus approach. That's how the batch will be laid out. What are the target? What are we expecting? Where do you want to go? First of all, the marking system of GATE has to be clear. GATE exam, like I said, is of 100. Let's say you get 80. Okay? I'm an optimist. I want you to get a fabulous score. So I've already said that number. You may assume whatever you want to. Let's say you get 80. There's a difference between GATE score marks and GATE score. GATE marks is out of 100. That's what you get. GATE score is what GATE gives you based on your marks. It gives you your marks also, but it gives you your overall GATE score. Why is GATE score different from GATE marks? GATE score, first of all, is out of 1,000. Generally, it's a 10.5 times effect. Generally, not always, but 10.5. So if you got 800, your GATE score will be somewhere around 850 to 900 in that range. 880 to 900 or whatever. Now, why is this GATE score created? Like I said, you have a morning paper and an afternoon paper. Maybe you are slotted in the morning paper. Maybe the morning paper was easier, the afternoon paper was tougher. So what happens? Is the morning batch at an advantage? No. In fact, it is the opposite. It could even be at a disadvantage because the morning paper is easier. More and more people will get more marks. It's easy to fake in an easy paper. In a tougher paper, all the fakery, all the guesswork goes out because the questions are far beyond, a slight remembrance and trying to solve. A tougher paper filters the crowd better. So would you want to be in an easier paper or a tougher paper? Because there are 2 papers, there's always this question. Oh, there's always that, that buyer's regret is what people say that, oh, I think that was easier, I should have got that or something like that. To avoid that disparity, to get everything at par, what GATE does is, it sees how many people got how many marks in the morning paper, the mean average of the toppers, the mean average of the bottom scorers, and based on that, it gauges a scale on which marks should be decided. That is then averaged out with the same effect for the evening exam and with the same effect over the exam of the last few years to create a cumulative average of how easy, tough the paper was, and based on that factor, your marks are multiplied to get your GATE score. I mean, there's a whole formula and process. I don't need to even tell you. I know it, but I don't need to tell you because you don't need to know it because you're not calculating it. GATE will calculate and give you. Your focus is to just get your marks. Study the subject, get your marks. GATE will produce the score. But a lot of factors come into that producing the score so that the score is at par. So that a morning student getting 850 is no way better than an afternoon student getting 850 or is no way poorer than a last year student getting 850. A GATE score of 850 has its own standing because it has been averaged out keeping all these parameters, and that is why it becomes a true identity of how good you are, and that is why all these reputed institutes of India, all these big PSUs and big companies take this as a barometer of how good you are. You have a good GATE score in your certificate, you are welcome in most companies and most institutes that you're dreaming of. Are you clear? Because in lower colleges, it's easier to score high. In better colleges, it's tougher to score high. So your score may not be really reflection of how good you are, but a GATE score is an average score for everybody. It removes all the disparities and gets everybody at one platform. It's a leveler. So a good score in GATE certifies that you're a good engineer. Are you clear? That's why it's used as a benchmark in all these placement processes and higher education. So this is what a good GATE score will get you. Many people ask this question: what happens if I get a good GATE score? What are the windows that open up? What are the gates that open up for me? Again, that flicker, because it's a white screen, don't bother, focus here. So these are the possible dreams that a student may have. You may have some other dreams also. I'm talking academically. All right, be free to dream and work on those dreams. These are the marks that will make you achieve your dreams. All right, if you want to get into the IITs, that badge that every student wants. As a school student, I have been actively involved in naval training. Yes, in Air Force training, in NCC, in Sea Cadets. Over there, like how we have an IIT is that supreme badge for an engineer. Marching in the Republic Day Parade of India in New Delhi is that dream of every cadet in their respective fields. And I've achieved that in 9th standard. So I know what that means when you're competing with the whole country, 22,000 students or cadets, and only 56 end up being there. You go through 6 levels of camps and get selected. In each one of them, you beat everybody around and you get there. And in that also, I was in the right file. If you ever done marching, you know what right file is. We are the ones who don't salute. We don't look right. We look straight so that everybody looks at us and they salute the president. Not that we don't salute out of disrespect. Of course, we take tremendous pride. But if we turn our head, the whole thing will shake. So the best marches are kept there. So yeah, someday I'll post a video of that also. So 1991, the Republic Day Parade, New Delhi, I was there. So the reason why I brought this up is, if you know you have a dream and if you know there is this one thing that certifies that you are the best in it, for an engineering student, it's the IITs. If that is your dream, 70 plus is the score you want to target. Your marks, okay? GATE will produce your score. 70 will give you a score of about 780, around 780 to 800 or somewhere in that ballpark. But basically 70 plus is what you want to target. Now again, when I'm saying this, I'm talking about marks that will give you entry into any IIT. Now if you want to be specific about a particular city which is not amongst the top 2 IITs or top 3 IITs of India, probably it will go a little lower. This is again general category. If you're applying to any of those special categories, of course it will go lower. So I'm talking generally. If you want to get into IIT, computer branch in IIT Bombay as an example, 70 plus is bare minimum what you should be targeting. NITs. Very promising. It's not like, I won't say it's second grade, it's not second grade. They are also really good. I've interacted with NIT Warangal and Silchar, if I can't pronounce the name properly. And yeah, they are also really nice. But anyway, they probably because they have more seats or whatever is the reason why, or probably because they came in the game later, in the popularity scale at least, their asking score is a little lower, but still is a big score to achieve, and you need to be really good to get this mark as well. 55 plus is what you should be looking at if you want to get into NITs. If any of these numbers are slightly deviated from the actual number, please do not get upset. This is from all the data that I have accumulated, not really gone into every college and asked it. From whatever data is openly available on the internet, but it's fairly accurate. It's done by a lot of research and hard work. But in case there is 1 or 2 mark deviation, please do not mind. And similarly, and that deviation will happen because I said there are so too many variables. It depends on which branch, which center you want to apply, and whether you are an open category or you're using any special categories. Other prominent institutes which come below these two, for all of them, 45 plus, which is very much achievable. If you just attend all the lectures, you pretty much got there. And you get your entry into MTech in any of those other institutes, government or even private. So your first goal, or the first reason why many people take the GATE exam is to do MTech and to get into any of these. You don't want to study more, you want to start working. There are numerous organizations, I'm not going to list all of them because obviously this is not about placements, but there are numerous organizations that use GATE score. I've listed the most prominent ones. The pride of India is ISRO, DRDO, and again something very close. Why? I'm from Bombay, born and brought up. I did my final year project in BRC. You know, in engineering, you have a final year project. So many students do it in their colleges, some students do it in some private companies, some students who are very fortunate and manage to get a contact or a connection. There is no application to these. It's not like an exam, otherwise you would give the exam and on merit. But it's more like, you know, these when you get into these companies, at least back then it was like that. If you have a reference whom you can approach and request, there will be hundreds of requests. Then depending upon how good your approach is and what you have submitted as a proposal, you may get selected. So we got. A lot of it had to do with the fact that I knew COBOL. COBOL is the language of programming, common business oriented language. My mother was a school teacher. So in 10th standard break, she told me, you want to join your cricket academy? That is afternoons. In the morning, I want you to join this computer course. So I'd learned COBOL, DBase, Lotus, which today have become Java, Python. DBase has become what? Access and SQL Server, and Lotus has become what? Excel. So these are softwares named at that time. Anyway, so I had learned all of those in my 10th standard break in what? Mid-90s. So because of that, when we went for this company, BARC, our project was to make changes to their Provident Fund software. And that whole software was written in COBOL. And because I knew COBOL, it became a big strong point for our group to be selected. And I did my final year project in BARC. Probably 25, 30, 40 trips I would have done to that. I mean, I won't remember how many times exactly, but a good fair amount of time. That big building, if you ever entered BRC, that's probably the longest building I've seen. I've traveled a lot of places in the world, but the longest building I've seen, not tallest, longest. The building just never got over, and that's inside that building was our office, third floor or something, I can't remember. And we used to go there, see the whole software, understand how such a beautiful, such a respected organization works, and pretty much was also just a few years after India became a superpower in terms of defense strength, and it was such a sense of pride to be in that place, which is churning out this whole respect for our country. Anyway, so yeah, these are the defense sector, this is the power sector, this is the infrastructure sector, all of them, I'm not going to name companies, all of them or most of them either use just GATE as a principal criteria. You have a good GATE score, you are selected, or they use it as one of the main criteria, GATE score along with their placement exam. Like BARC has a placement exam, ISRO also has a placement exam, but in both of them, the weightage of GATE score is very high. If you have a high GATE score, you are pretty much there, and if you have a high GATE score, you are qualified enough or you are knowledgeable enough to crack those placement exams very easily. Are you clear? So that's why they have many rounds of placements where they don't even have those exams. It's just basically your GATE score. If it's really high, that just becomes an entry point into these companies. And these are public sector, that is government companies. Private companies, you get a top score, you are anywhere in the range of 60 plus, you don't even have to be 70, 60 plus, you are welcome with open arms in most of these companies. The big dream companies, Microsoft, Google, Accenture, I'm not here to name companies, but you get the point, right? The dream companies, Amazon and Qualcomm and all of these, anything above 65, anything around 70, hands down, you probably will get a call from them, you don't even have to approach them. That is how important this GATE exam is, because like I said, a 70 over here or a 780 score or 800 score of GATE is a par score. It doesn't matter whether your paper was simple, tough, all that variables are factored in when that score is created. So that is a true test of how good you are. So it's either that or this. You just want to prove how good you are. You want to show the world that yes, I can be amongst the top so-and-so category students all over the country. You want to be in the top 100, all India ranked top 100. 75 plus is what you should be looking at. The top people get the top jobs and go into the top institutes. It's pretty much the same barometer. 70 plus, 75 plus is what you're looking at. The top 500, 65 plus, top 1000, 60 plus. So basically, even 1000 is not really necessary. You get anything about 50, 55 plus, your career is set. One way or the other, you will get placed well, you will get a good campus, and you get tremendous boost by yourself. You'll be prepared enough to tackle any company's placement interview or those placement rounds. Are you clear? So that was everything about the GATE exam and the GATE score. One last point before we wind up the main thing, our course. Now, our course, my course of COA, and with that this whole batch is starting. My course is starting first in the batch along with one more. So you may enroll in whichever one. The timings are different, so you may choose whichever batch. There is so much flexibility in Unacademy. I saw their approach. I have been approached by numerous others. No names taken, that's not the purpose. Everywhere I saw, okay, a student has to take this, then if the student wants this, there is an add-on, you want this, there is an add-on. I'm like, how much are you going to charge a student? It doesn't make sense. What you do, the commercial greed was clearly reflected while you go through those discussions. So over here, what I've been told and what is the principle followed by Unacademy is, you pay for GATE CSIT, you get access to everything. When I say everything, all the live batches, my batch, after me, again, there'll be another batch of mine for Hindi. You get that. You didn't attend a lecture, you can get the recordings. The recordings come immediately about an hour after the batch or 1.5 hours after the batch. The recording becomes active. You can watch them as many times as you want to. You want to switch from one batch. Okay, so suddenly midway you realize my college exams are coming, my other commitments are coming. I'll leave this, join the next one, join again my own batch for CUA the next time. You want to see the last year's batch, somebody else taught CUA. You want to I'm talking about my subject, can be any other subject. You want to learn how that teacher taught it, that whole archive, everything under the umbrella of GATE is available to you. In this year, probably in June, we may start one more batch for the people who wake up late. That will be available to you. In October, we will start one more batch only for revision of all the topics. That will be anything launched by Unacademy under the umbrella of GATE CSIT will be accessible to you if you have taken this batch. Are you clear? So you don't have to pay every time, you don't have to face a wall every time that this is not given to me. Everything is given to you. So this batch that I'm talking about is for 12 months. That is the right time. People say, sir, how long should we prepare for GATE? So I'm going to give you a link in the description. You click on the link, you will get my discount code applied. I will talk about the discount very soon. You will see a whole set of options. You may take the 36-month course. Of course, it will be priced differently. You may take the 24-month course. You may take the 12-month course, 6-month course, 3-month course, whatever you may want to enroll for. You ask me what is the right time? 1 year. Perfect. That's the reason why I'm releasing this video today. 1 year gives you ample time because you do have to understand that there will be a lot of other commitments, your college commitments. Some people apply for GATE after coming out of college while they are working. So your work commitments, family commitments, numerous other things that happen. Finally, if you're in the final year, your project commitments. A 1 year window gives you a lot of leeway to study at a good pace, solve all the sums. You miss a lecture, catch up in the video recording so that before the next lecture, you're caught up. If you take anything lesser than 1 year, it's not like it can't be done. You're squeezing it and leaving too much to chance. Something comes up, a Ganpati festival, Diwali festival, some outing in the family, some other commitment. You miss something, you won't even have the time to catch up because the next lecture will come too fast. Are you understanding what I'm saying? And then what happens in engineering? If you have one gap, then the gap just multiplies. Then you lose track. So you don't want that. That is why we suggest students 1 year. Some people say, sir, should I do 2 years? I mean, you could. I mean, if it was commerce, I would say, please take 2 years, it's more expensive. But you ask me, no, not required. And you can. Of course, you could. So you know what some people do? They take the 3-year one, 36-month one. I'll tell you why. They start from first year, second year, middle of first year, or end of first year, going into second year, basically this time. What it does is, most of these subjects are anyway there in your engineering. So you are learning it now, and for 3 years you have access to all the batches and all the lectures that will be released for 3 years. So you have access to all of this information, which will anyway help you in your college exams. So you'll ace your college exams also, and it just makes a more thorough preparation. So yeah, fine. If you want that, I mean, if you want to avoid all other tuitions and all other classes and all other batches, just take this, and your 3 years are sorted. So that is also a good, decent approach, but that is for a different mindset. If you ask me purely, sir, for GATE, from your advice, how much time should we give? 1 year is the most apt option, and it's enough. The way we have paced, the way I've paced my COA, I'm sure all of the teachers have not individually paced their lectures, and they won't want me to. That is every teacher's own prerogative. The way I have paced it, we will be done in 30 lectures. So starting from Feb, we have 21st Feb, 3 lectures a week. So you're talking about what? March, April, by end of April, first week of May, we'll be done. Mid-May, we'll be done with everything. So what that does is then you take another subject, then you take another subject. You do 2 subjects together. By December, you are done with all the subjects, all the paper solving, what teacher has to teach you. Then it's just revision, solve more, revision, solve more. That's the way you do it. I got 95%, 94.3%, okay, to be exact, 94.33 in my HSC, in my 12th. And it's the same process that I followed. Finished all the preparation by Diwali, the previous year. And then it was just paper solving. Only solving. That's how you get that kind of percentage. Of course, this is mid-90s or late 90s. There was no internet. There was no Google. There was no free flow of information. Getting that kind of score today is much easier because your information is available readily. We had those 3 textbooks for the respective subjects. And just whatever notes you can get from here and there, and then it was just you and your table. Keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing, keep solving papers till the time you can ace it. So if you want to achieve that kind of a success, you need to start and plan it the right way. Don't go ad hoc. And if you want to ask from experience of someone who's done it for so many years, 1 year is a good time. So I would suggest you planning to take GATE, take this 21st batch and start right away. Don't wait for the next one to start. Okay, this batch will be in English. Very soon I'll announce a batch in Hindi also. मेरे को दोनों लैंग्वेज इक्वली कंफर्टेबल है. आप मेरे को बोलो हिंदी में पढ़ाना है, मैं हिंदी में पढ़ा लूंगा. एक ही बात है, हम बॉम्बे में रहते हैं तो ऑब्वियसली हिंदी में तो बात करते ही हैं. तो I can speak in both the languages pretty much easily. Many teachers prefer any one language. Many students prefer any one language. So that's the reason why we have an English batch and a Hindi batch. I'll be taking the Hindi batch also, but no need to wait for it. Start with the English batch. See as much as you can understand. If you understood the video till now, if you're there till now, you'll understand everything I'm teaching. It's me talking in the same speed, in the same language. All right, so get on with it. And whenever I start the Hindi batch, like I said, Unacademy allows you access to everything. Enroll yourself in the Hindi batch and move to the Hindi batch. So you have the option of doing both. The fees, one single fee that takes care of all the access is 27,499, 27,500. Okay, hold on. Here comes your teacher. You apply my coupon code bharat.ai. You're wondering why bharat.ai? Very soon, something very big is brewing. When it is ready, I'll make the announcement. I take time to do things because I like to do things thoroughly. There's no point in having a half-hearted approach just to make a quick buck. So that's never me. When it's ready, you will get the announcement. That's why right from the beginning, I wanted to book my coupon code as bharat.ai. Anyway, so AI, I hope you all use AI. I hope you all learn how to get the best juice out of AI without compromising on your own things, sense of, ability to think. Anyway, some other day, big discussion on that, big discussion. You apply this code, you straight away get a 60% off, and the fee becomes something that anybody who is even this much serious about their career and their future will be happy to spend. I've already told you what are all the benefits of taking the GATE exam and may not even take the exam, of taking the course and preparing for GATE. Every possible option that you want to take after you finish engineering will get a much better option, will get a much better chance of success when you take this course. It's preparing you for all those possibilities. And the fees come down drastically to an option that's very affordable to everybody, like I said, who is serious about building a career. Yeah, if it's just one of the thoughts and the other thought is which movie I want to watch tonight, then it's a different thing. But if you're serious about your career, you want to move ahead of the rest, you have faced different situations. Maybe you're born with a silver spoon, maybe you had a decent childhood, maybe you had a tough childhood, maybe you have this urge to prove to the world how good you are. You want to jumpstart your career. This is an amount that you will earn like this if your career goes where you plan to take it. And not just this, one condition I put with Unacademy. Those who know me, if you've taken any of my courses before, you know how much I like to give my knowledge, because you should know everything. A teacher never wants to hold it back. All right. Like I said, there is fees involved. Without fees, how can it work? Everybody spends their effort on it. Teaching is a profession. It's not a hobby. It's not my part-time job. It's my profession. So I have no qualms about asking a fee for it. But when a student becomes my student, when they pay the fees, when they enroll for my courses, I see to it that they are showered with knowledge without any restriction. And that's the condition I brought in with Unacademy. When we had this whole discussion, I said, if anybody enrolls using my coupon, strictly using my coupon, not only will they get this discount, they will get all my courses for free. Yes, each of these courses individually are also sold at Unacademy, like they have been sold on my platform, my own website. Each of these courses by themselves cost $1,499. But if you take this, you not only get your whole GATE course, you get all my courses for free, provided you have enrolled as my student. So while taking the course, the link is given down. Click on the link, open it. If you have a second thought and you go back through history and somehow that coupon is not there, first of all, you won't get any discount. So you need some coupon to apply. When you apply my coupon, not only will you get this discount, you will be enrolled as my student and you will have access to all of my courses, which will be useful to you in different semesters of engineering, and all of them will be useful to you during placements. all of them will be free for you for the duration that you've taken this course. You take the 12-month course, all of them will be active for you for 12 months. You take in the 3-year course, they'll be active for you for 3 years. Are you clear? And with those courses comes all the PDFs, Viva questions, MCQs. That's been my profession for the past 7 years when I'm teaching online, and 25 years that I'm teaching in physical classrooms. These are subjects that I teach. So the reason why I put this condition is because when I teach you COA, when I'm teaching you, let's say, addressing modes, I will teach you addressing modes based on what is there in COA syllabus. The same topic, addressing modes, is different in 8085, different in 8086, different in 80386, different in Pentium, different in ARM, different in all these processors. I teach all of them, 8051 and so on. So as a student, your knowledge, your flight of knowledge will be curbed if you only look at addressing modes of COA. You want to learn more, open that video, watch the addressing modes of 8086, watch the addressing modes of 8051, learn, explore more, get, not from COA point of view, not from GATE point of view, from your knowledge point of view, get your knowledge complete. When you talk about pipelining, we are talking about pipelining only from COA point of view. Pipelining explodes when you go to Pentium. It is a superscalar pipeline. It's there. Watch it. Learn. When we say control hazard, we say branch prediction is a method to solve the control hazard. Pentium has the whole video of detailed branch prediction, how it achieves 99% accuracy, and so on. These are just examples. Everything that I talk in CO becomes a much bigger chapter when you learn it in their respective courses. This is from GATE point of view, but from your knowledge, there is no end to knowledge. There is no syllabus to knowledge. So when I said this, when a student enrolls for this, the student will have the urge to learn more. Then again, asking the student to pay fees for these is wrong. It's my belief. If the student has trusted me, watch this video, enrolled as my student, he or she will get access to all my courses for free. Go play. This is your playground. Learn, develop yourself as an engineer, and be a champion, and then write back to me when your career is on the path that you intended to be. There is no better joy for a teacher than to read a message like that. All right? So that was everything about what I wanted you to know in this lecture. What are you waiting for? Start learning, shape your career, and yes, to get all the benefits I mentioned, put my code in the discount code bharat.ai. The link is given down in the description. I hope to see you there on the 21st for the first lecture. Enjoy learning. Wish you all the best. Do well.